Assalamualaikum and a very good day. We are from Group 2 will present to you about fluid principle application is known as Pascal law. Before we start the presentation, let me introduce our committee members. Firstly, Ahmad Iman Hakim bin Zakaria, and the second one is Ayman Sazwan bin Rosli, and I am Muhammad Nasib Fidaus bin Rahman. Pascal principle, also called Pascal law. In fluid mechanics, statement A. In a fluid at rest in a closed container, a pressure change in one part is transmitted without loss to every portion of the fluid and to the wall of the container. The principle was first enunciated by the French scientist Blaise Pascal. Pressure is equal to the force divided by the area on which it acts. According to the Pascal principle, in a hydraulic system, a pressure exerted on a piston produces an equal increase in pressure on another piston in the system. If the second piston has an area 10 times that of the first, the force on the second piston is 10 times greater, though the pressure is the same as that on the first piston. This effect is exemplified by the hydraulic press, based on Pascal principle, which is used in such application as hydraulic brakes. Pascal also discovered that the pressure at a point in a fluid at rest is the same in all directions. The pressure will be the same on all planes passing through a specific point. This fact is also known as Pascal principle or Pascal law. Before we start our presentation, I would like to share about Blaise Pascal. He was born in 19 June 1623 on Clermont-Ferrand, France, and died at age 39 on 19 June 1662.
Applications that use Pascal principles such as, for number 1 is machine tool, for example, stamping machine. Next is the material handling equipment and construction, field of example, boom lift. Then in automobile system, for example, braking system for car. Firstly, we set the bottle jet pump on the place we used to apply the principle. And check the operation screw is tight from release valve. After that, we put the lever on the leakage so we can see the fluid principle by this image. We continue to apply the force of pump bottle jet. We can see that the big area piston jet the load with a small force. For example, we can see the dimension of bottle jet, a small area piston transfer the pressure to big area piston. We can see the working progress of the check valve with one flow area. Next, we can see that the larger distance travel from small area piston and small distance travel on the big area piston. So, we can see that the hydraulic system with a small force can lift the heavily load. Lastly, we can see that the release valve work in progress, vice versa when the pressure from big piston to small piston.
Assalamualaikum. Equation for Pascal principle is pressure applied anywhere to a fluid cause a force to transmit equally in all directions, which means pressure 1 equal pressure 2. After that, fluid pressure is measure of how much force is applied on a surface in a fluid per unit area. The formula of pressure is pressure equal force divided by area. Last but not least, work done on the input piston applied force is equal to a work done by the output piston in the lifting the load placed on it. The formula for work done is work equal force times distance. So, with a formula work done, We can also calculate distance travel for piston by deriving the formula for work done. The formula is work divided by force, so we can get the distance. Conclusion for this application bottle jack. Based on our observation, pressure at a small piston in bottle jack applied to a fluid cause a force to transmitted equally in all directions to a big piston at bottle jack. Next, in a bottle jack, a small force applied from a small area piston is transformed to a large force at a large area piston. From our observation, the smaller distance travel for big area piston, the longer distance travel for a small area piston. So, the conclusion is the force on the large piston is 10 times larger than the force on the small piston. The large piston distance travel is 10 times smaller than the small piston.